In this lesson, we'll be drawing an object in two-point perspective. In our previous lesson, we were able to draw a cube and a cylinder in one-point perspective, and so now we're going to take a look at two-point perspective. So you can see on our canvas that we have this horizon line, and we have these two vanishing points. So these are our 2 points for our perspective drawing. And so what we'll do in order to get started, so we want to draw a cube. So we'll need to come over to our layers, and you can see that we do have everything that we need to start out in this folder. Let's just create a new layer, and let's just come over to our tools, and we're going to grab our line tool. And so with our line tool, then we'll be able to start to draw our trajectory lines. And so we need to decide, we'll go ahead and use pixels for our line tool. And so since we have pixels, we need to pick a foreground color. Maybe we'll just use this green color. And for our weight, let's go ahead and use 3 pixels for our weight for our trajectory line. We'll start over here with our left vanishing point. And as we click and drag, and so this, remember, this will be the base of our cube. So we kind of need to decide where we're going to put it. So I'd kind of like it to be somewhere around here in the middle. So before we let go, I want to kind of plan that out. So I'm going to go ahead and drag right about here. And so we do have this crossing about where our center point is. And so we can also come over here on this side. And we're also going to kind of plan out this side. So I'm just going to have these cross about here in the middle. And so then we're going to draw the second part of our left vanishing point. So we're going to put this about here. And so maybe it would even help if we put it kind of close to this corner over here, because these two vanishing points aren't exactly spaced out, but this will kind of give us just about the size or the proportion of a cube. There we go. So now you can see we have our base for our cube. Very cool. And so with that, we can do a couple things here. So if we make a new layer, and we might go ahead and name trajectory 1. So that'll be like our base grid, and then we can go ahead and call this our cube base, something like that. So now if we wanted to, we could either use our line tool and maybe pick a different color like black or something like that, but I'm actually going to swap these out, and then I'm going to choose black. And then so for our cube base, we can easily just come through and draw out that base. Let's just go ahead and do that. It's going to come through here and just draw out that base just like that, just using those trajectory lines very easily. And finish that little side right there. Cool. All right, so now we have our base drawn. Very nice. All right, so from here, we can draw what we want to be our side for our cube. And we can kind of decide how tall we want that to be. And then we can base that side. We can base these trajectory lines off that side that we draw. Or we could draw the trajectory line and then base the cube off of that. And so I think for us, it would be great. Let's just go ahead and make a new layer, and we'll just call this our sides, our cube sides. And we're just going to start right here on the corner, and I'm going to hold shift and just draw that straight up. And so we can either make it taller, or how about if we make it about like that. Great. So then we'll create a new layer. This will be our trajectory 2. And so this will be the top part of our trajectory. And then for that, we can actually choose, we can either choose the green. Actually, let's just go ahead and use the green for trajectory 2. And we're going to now draw off of this side. And so just as long as that it crosses right over the top of that line, just like that. And actually, I'm going to draw that again. But you know what? I think it'd be more helpful if we chose something like a different color. So we'll choose like this really light pink color. And we're just going to draw that right across the top of that line. And then we're going to come over on this side, and we'll do the same right over the top of that line, just like that. So what that allows us to do is it allows us to now line up this back line and this front line, and I'll show you. So let's go to our layers, and we're going to go to our cube sides, and let's just swap out here. And so this line that goes to this vanishing point, we can easily come over here, start on this corner, hold shift, and it needs to touch that back line. And then this line, let me start over, put it right here in the middle. So this line will need to touch the line that's going across in the front, in the foreground. Awesome. So now we can go back to our trajectory 2, and we can swap out our foreground and background colors. And then we can just draw these lines that will connect these 2 points. So we have the one that intersects right there. And then we have the line, actually, we already drew this line. So actually that's all we need, is to have that line that will essentially enable us to draw that last wall, and then we can draw the top of it. So now we can go to our cube sides, swap out our colors, and I'm going to start right here, and it just needs to touch that line just right there. Awesome. And so now we can actually even hide our trajectory, and I'm going to hide this one too. And so all we need to do now is just line up the top of our box. So I can just come through, and you know, if you want it to be a separate layer, I can see why you'd want that to be another layer. So if you wanted to maybe just use, you know, hide some of these if we wanted to fill this box in. So let's just go ahead and make a cube top, just like that. And then we can just click and drag and just make the top of our cube. And just go to each corner here, just like that. We need to zoom in here, we can do that. And awesome. All right, so now we have the top of our cube, we have the sides and everything filled in. And so now you could actually come in and, like if you went to the base, let's say maybe you wanted to kind of get rid of some of this, but not entirely. You could just create a layer mask, and you could either use your lasso or something like that. And like if you wanted to just kind of get rid of some of these lines temporarily, and you could fill that in, so you could just hit Alt and delete. You can get rid of that, actually it looks like I scooted that over somehow before I did that. Alt delete. And then if you wanted to, you know, get rid of some of the other lines, then you could do that. And so you'd go to each one and just kind of get rid of those lines and just kind of mask them out, just so that they didn't interfere with your shape that you're creating. So that is how to draw a cube in 2-point perspective. And in our next lesson, we're going to just spend some time drawing cubes in 3-point perspective.